So, Kristen was diagnosed with obstructive sleep apnea at the age of 31. Ladies listening, at the age of 31, after 15 years of unexplained
Yeah.
symptoms. Let's pause for a second and have that sink in. 15 years of unexplained symptoms.
Yeah, I was a
Okay?
little 16-year-old teenager,
Look at
tiny
her.
little high
This is not
schooler,
someone who you'd go, "Oh my, of course she has horrible sleep apnea. Look at her." No.
which is why I never even knew a thing about it. We'll get into that, I'm sure, but I knew
Yeah.
nothing about sleep apnea or sleep disorders in general until I landed eventually in a sleep disorder clinic myself.
OMG, right? So this is a really, really important story because there are millions and millions of people who are in your situation, Kristen, and they are going to be like, what are you talking about? How
Yeah.
can that be me? Right? So she's been an avid CPAP user since her diagnosis. She shares her travels with her CPAP on social media. Her CPAP bag has the most epic level of badges that you can possibly imagine. It's super cool. And she hopes to encourage others to never feel self conscious about their diagnosis. Yes. Kristen regularly contributes to patient advocacy efforts. Yes, she does. And she leverages her expertise in mental health to raise awareness for earlier screening and detection of sleep disorders. She's also a member of Project Sleep's expert advisory board. Anyone who's listening who follows knows how deeply supportive I am of Project Sleep, particularly since it's such an all encompassing organization. It's really
Yeah.
about all the sleep disorders, including rare, right? And the founder, Julie Flieger, is amazing and really just a force of nature to be
Yes.
able to have accomplished everything she's accomplished with the diagnosis of narcolepsy. So I'm going to have all of her social media links. Kristen, welcome to the show. Please tell me about these 15 years of these symptoms. Like, what?
I know, it seems unbelievable. It still seems unbelievable as I look back on it, but my journey, I have learned in the past 5 years of being on CPAP and sharing my journey on social media, I've connected with so many people that have similarly long paths to diagnosis of any sleep disorder, whether it's sleep apnea, narcolepsy, what have you. And I just always think, that's so much time that we're all suffering, so much time that we're doing what we have to do to get through our daily lives. Because if anyone's living with a chronic health issue or something that's undiagnosed, something is wrong, you have no choice but to push through your days and get done what you need to get done. And that's kind of what my life was for a lot of periods of time. So starting around 16, it might have been earlier than that, but that's when I really remember being so tired all of the time. And that was my main symptom. Later on, there were other symptoms that I could have picked up on if I had known a little bit more about the signs and symptoms, but I never considered that I had a sleep disorder because all of my symptoms were daytime symptoms. I didn't have any of the nighttime symptoms that you might expect from a sleep disorder. I really didn't snore. I didn't really gasp for air. I didn't think I was waking up all throughout the night, but I was. I just didn't realize it at the time.
I want to clarify something about the term tired. I
Yeah.
very am specifically using that term because you mentioned it, and it is a very common description for women that often gets poo pooed toward, well, you're in a lot of sports, you're competitive, you want to try to go to medical school, so you're studying late at night. What else can we? You had kids, and now you have a baby at home. You're perimenopausal.
Your lifestyle.
It's your
That is what
lifestyle.
I
You're
was told
working
many
and you're a
times.
mom. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
what walk of life you are. Just if you were to look at that term tired,
Right.
one of the things that I have seen in my clinical practice, but also has been described in literature, is tired can mean a lot of different things. So can you kind of elaborate on what tired meant for you? Was it truly like I can't keep my eyes open, sleepy?
Yes. And I have, again, one of the reasons why it's so important to raise awareness is because the general public, and that was me for 15 years, didn't really know the language that's associated with sleep disorders. I'm sure we'll talk about sleepiness or excessive daytime sleepiness. That's what I was experiencing, but I had never heard that term before. So I would say either I'm tired or I have no energy, or I'm fatigued, because I thought fatigued and sleepy were the same thing, and I'm still sussing out that that's not necessarily the same. There are some differences between those things, but I had never ever heard the term sleepy. It didn't feel like a true medical term to me. Maybe I would have gotten a little bit further if I had known that earlier, but it was really truly every morning when I woke up, maybe once a month, once every couple of months, and I distinctly remember because it was so surprising to me, I would wake up feeling rested and energized. But every other day, I would wake up feeling as if I had not slept at all, and I would drag myself through my day. And I would take many naps. It's even starting in high school. You know, my mom would drag me out of bed to get to high school on time, even though I had slept an appropriate number of hours, at least 8. I was usually clocking 8 to 10. And I would go to school, get through what I needed to do, come home, take a nap, get up to eat and do my homework, and go back to sleep. And then if I had other things going on, you know, I was involved in clubs or what have you, I would do those things as well. But I was always pulling myself through this sleepy fog. And there was a lot of that, a lot of brain fog as well, that, you know, you have no choice but to keep going. And I was trying to find answers. I was constantly bringing up to my PCP, to specialists, to everyone, that there wasn't something wasn't right. There was something wrong with my energy, and we were just constantly going like this. It was just being missed. And, you know, I think there's a lot of reasons why it was missed, but certainly because you wouldn't expect a 16, 17, 18-year-old young girl who doesn't think she has any problems with her sleep to have a sleep disorder.
Let's take a pause. Very, very important teaching point from a patient to any provider listening here. Because, and also to other patients. So what you described is, I didn't know the lingo, right? And I think that's a really, really important message, because I think we have an optics problem in healthcare.
Yeah.
And it's how we communicate, because we learn the language. There is nothing wrong with knowing a medical language. We do speak a different language. In fact, among specialties, we speak different language. So if I try to read a note from an orthopedic surgeon, they ain't going to be able to read Dr. Kole's sleep notes, and I ain't going to be able to read their notes. I'm going to be like, what does all this mean? Okay. So it happens even across medicine. But something that's really, really key is, I want anyone listening to pause and remember, if you mean I am sleepy, don't worry about when it is, or just I am sleepy, okay? If you're the patient and you know you're sleepy, it's okay to say I'm sleepy.
Yeah.
Again, conversely, if you're a clinician and you hear the word tired, you hear the word fatigued, I want you to really sit down and go, yeah, but they're feeling this during the day. Mm-hmm. Even if they're saying, my sleep feels fine, I'm getting enough hours, I don't know why I'm so tired during the day. Mm-hmm. Your threshold for considering a sleep disorder shouldn't be up here. It should be down here.
Yeah.
Because sleep, especially if there is a disorder, the one thing we're good at is treating disorders. The one thing we learn in medical school is you have a diagnosis and you get a treatment, okay?
Yeah.
Prevention is really a problem. Like, we're not so good at that, keeping people healthy, but we are good at learning about diseases and stuff. So please, 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 if you're listening, make sure that you probe further. And if you're doing your workup and they don't have hypothyroidism and iron deficiency and probably all the other crap that they checked you for, not that it's not relevant. Okay, it is relevant. Maybe I shouldn't use the word crap. I didn't mean it that way. I wasn't trying to be derogatory. But I am going to argue you have missed the boat with the sleep. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Absolutely.